Hi everyone and welcome to Jane Talks Real. It's nostalgia time once again and I'm going to be switching it up a bit and talking about a 1994 PC game, King's Quest VII. King's Quest VII is a point-and-click adventure game that runs with the tagline, The Princeless Bride. The game's intro cutscene sees Queen Valenice talking to her daughter Rosella. Princess Rosella is having none of this marriage talk and gets distracted by a flying seahorse. When it disappears into a pool of mystical water, she follows it, only to be grabbed by troll hands and pulled away. Valenice jumps in after her and our adventure begins. Valenice lands in the desert where she immediately rips her dress and gets annoyed by a rude rabbit creature that leaves her in the dust. No sign of Rosella, so there's no choice but to explore the surroundings. There's a deep round pool with a statue that will make fresh water if you have the right ingredients. There's a small temple with a very large scorpion. Best run away from that situation. There's a couple of questionable looking plants and a mouse in a tiny house, but he's lost his glasses so he doesn't have time for your bullshit right now. On top of that, there is a zombie ghost wandering around and miles of desert you shouldn't spend too long in. There's a portal gate thing that's missing some pieces, so better get cracking if you want to get out of here. You've got a couple of options with the scorpion. You can obtain a shrinking potion that will send it scuttling back to where it came from, or you can pin it to the wall, solve the gem puzzle and get the F out of there. You also need fresh water, and I honestly can't remember the exact ingredients, but it's something to do with corn and crying into a bowl of salt water. Once you have this, you have the unenviable task of tracking down the zombie ghost, who could be absolutely anywhere and tends to wander off when you do find him. He appreciates the water though and allows you to access some junk before disappearing into the afterlife or something. Now to get the glasses off the rabbit creature, and there are once again two options. You can trip him with a rope, or my personal favourite is to blow the horn down his hole and scare the shit out of him. Either way, you've got the mouse's glasses back and he's ready to make a deal. He will trade things that rhyme, so you make out like a bandit when he gives you a precious bead in exchange for your crappy old seed. But it's easy come, easy go because it's the only thing the offering bowl will accept in order to take part of the portal key without drowning. With both parts of the key, you can kiss the desert goodbye. At least for the time being. We pick back up with Rosella being dragged out of the portal and transformed into a troll by Otar, the Troll King. Much to Rosella's dismay, he fancies her as his bride. Lucky her! Wandering around the land of the trolls, Rosella meets Matilda, Otar's nanny, who agrees to turn her back human if she can bring her the right ingredients. There is a bunch, including a crystal dragon scale and baked beetles. This right bitch Militia shows up and doesn't appreciate Matilda interfering, so she zaps her ass, leaving us with one very unhappy camper. Best get to that list and quickly, because if Militia catches you, you're not going to enjoy the outcome. 2 of the ingredients are in the kitchen, if you can get past the murderous chef, and this pervy troll, who calls you Sugar Lips, is of no help whatsoever. Down in the troll mines, there is a different kind of troll who won't let you trip-trap over his bridge. So you're going to have to take him out with a cart to the face. Bye! Beyond that, there is a crystal dragon who doesn't feel like giving up a scale because it's lost its spark. That spark turns out to be a lit lantern, and one hammer and chisel to the tail later, the scale is yours. You also need a silver spoon, but Pervy McPervison over there won't let you use his tools. Better knock him out and move along. Once you give her all the junk you've spent ages collecting, Matilda turns you back into a human. But it's now time to GTFO of there. One magical rope later and you're on your way to the surface and out of this mess. Valenice went out of the desert and into the fire. This thing wants to eat her, but luckily it's an omnivore and will take this hairy ballsack instead. It pisses off back to where it came from and you can move along. Ah yes, this is much nicer. This lush green forest is preferable to the scorpion zombie ghost desert of death. There are many sights to see in the forest, one of which is a sad stag and a bleeding tree who both used to be human. Damn, where's Matilda when you need her? There's also a big boy spider with a familiar voice I just can't place, but sending him on his way means you rescue a hummingbird who is now in your debt. This forest is nice and all, but the river is crappy and there's a werewolf that wants to eat you. Rude. Maybe someone in this town can help you. Oh joy, it's Fifi la Yip Yap, who is as pompous as he is annoying. He's not a fan of outsiders, and if you think you're going to get an invite to his birthday party, you can sod right off. Fernando, a literal bull in a china shop, is a friendly fellow, but someone stole his treasure and now he's sad. Thankfully, his treasure, a little caged bird, is not far away. You're 2 for 2 when it comes to saving birds. There's a rather dodgy merchant who encourages you to break into the town hall and steal a statuette, and you visit the faux shop, which I never really understood. If you open the door, you pass straight through like you're in a Wile E. Coyote cartoon, but if you eat the salt crystals found by the pool in the desert, you can enter the shop. I just don't see the logic behind it. Anyway, one run-in with a crazy chicken later and the moon falls from the sky. If you have one last trading session with the no longer blind mouse, you can fish the cheese moon out of the pond. But, uh-oh, now you're under arrest. Have a nice day! Rosella is on her way up to the surface and surprises a poor gravedigger just going about his day. Welcome to Ooga Booga, the land of spooky graves and total weirdos. But Dr. Cadaver is nice, if a little hunched over. He's missing his spine because of course he is. Off you go then, but watch out for this creeper who pops out of the ground, like daisies! The doc's spine is in the Treehouse of Horrors, but it's worth the trip because look how swanky he looks, and he also gives you a funky pet in a box. Back to the gravedigger, who is unsurprisingly still digging. But a shovel is not his tool of choice. He has an awesome rat-powered digging machine which is sadly short one rat. The rat has been rat-napped by 3 kids more irritating and destructive than Oogie Boogie's trio of shitbags. Luckily, they're more interested in the random box you got from the doc than the rat. With the gravedigger up and ratting again, he gives you a fabulous gift. Your very own grave dug for free! Yay? Rosella picks a site, and although the gravedigger points out she's not actually dead, he obliges and digs her a grave. At the bottom of the hole she finds the real King Otar, and oops, Militia is here and now you're trapped. With the help of some toad thingy, you're able to get free and you head out of Ooga Booga. Passing through the forest, you come across Militia's house. And hey, you know what would be a great idea? Breaking in and rifling through her stuff. Yeah, that won't piss her off at all. After you steal some items from her drawers, you head into Folderol and waltz straight into the town hall. Too bad Rosella doesn't realise that her mother is a few feet away from her and instead heads back down into the Troll Kingdom. Valanice is in big trouble, but there's still hope. If she can return the moon to the sky, she will be pardoned and released. Of course, the only logical course of action is to catapult the cheese moon back into the sky using a rubber chicken. This logic, man. Anyway, you get a free feather from the deal, and using it to tickle this naptime rock on the nose will wake it up. He's a bit cranky, but he tells you how to restore the river. Ooh, pretty! That cures Attis of being a stag, but Lady Ceres is still stuck as a tree, so time to move on for a little while. Hey, remember that rabbit fur you picked up in the desert? Well, if you stick it in this jar of whatever goop, you can outrun the werewolf and get yourself into Ooga Booga. Too bad Rosella's no longer here. A talking black cat tells her what's up, and it seems like the Headless Horseman isn't going to rest until he gets his head back. After blasting open his tomb with a lit firecracker you're just lugging around with you, you stick the horseman's head back on and he's super grateful. He gives you the use of his horse, which will take you up to a floating land in the sky. It's so brightly coloured up there it's like a walking, talking migraine. You can also slide down the rainbows to get yourself back to different places, but why would you ever want to go back to the shitty desert? Now, this is where the game loses me, because Valanice talks to the Fates and they tell us some story about Mab and the dream world, and I just don't get what's going on. All of a sudden, the cheese moon is the least ridiculous part of this whole story. What I do get is that we now have the means to restore Lady Ceres, and that's a relief because that tree was taking up so much room. After feeding a hungry shadow dog, Dr. Cadaver takes you into his home and lets you rest where, well, all sorts of shit happens. Hey, Valanice, maybe click your heels together and say there's no place like home? Now Oberon and Titania rock up because why wouldn't they, and it's time to end this weird-ass chapter. Well, the volcano's going to erupt, so you might want to do something about that. This is a very short chapter and it's pretty difficult to get right. Rosella finds both Otars fighting and she needs to turn one of them into a toad. It's easy to tell which one is which, but if the wand isn't on the correct setting, then you've done effed up. Some bloke shows up only to get killed off by Militia, but that thing you robbed from her house is the key to stopping both her and the volcano. But that guy's still dead, and he will remain that way unless you use the extra life the cat gave you to restore him. The version of the game I had never gave you the time to do this, so I always ended up with a dead dude on my hands. But at least Valanice and Rosella are reunited, so yay! King's Quest VII I love, and I've played it many times over. But there are certain bugs in the game, like not being able to use the extra life, and the firecracker exploding immediately upon being put in your inventory, that made parts somewhat irritating. There's also really weird conditions for certain things to be done. For example, if you blow the gravedigger's horn when the branch of the tree in the background is pointing the wrong way, you get killed by a grumpy skeleton. Also, there's a condition to get into Melicia's house without her killing you, and that's equally as dumb. But the characters, voice acting, music and settings are all really lovely, and it was a joy to play over and over. I still don't know what's going on with Mab and the block of ice though. So there you have it. That was King's Quest VII. Did you play this one as a kid, and did you enjoy it? Were you able to save the guy at the end, or did he stay dead in your version? Let me know in the comments, or come say hi on Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share and subscribe. Join me next time where I'll be talking about a plasticine penguin. I'll speak to you soon, and thanks for watching.